What is going on? I'm Coach Nick, your fishing coach, representing No Redemption Outdoors with a top 5 for today. Today's top 5 is the top 5 lures that catch bass anywhere. I'm talking from here to Timbuktu. They work. That's the bottom line. Let's start with number 1. Numero uno. This was a bait popularized decades ago by guys like Bill Dance, Zell Rowland, Roland Martin, Jimmy Houston. It's a topwater and it's perfect. It's this guy right here. That is a Rebel Pop R. Now, the reason I say it's perfect is this right here, that mouth. It is very concave, it's very deep. That does two things. One is when you jerk the tip of the rod, it keeps it in the strike zone. It doesn't move forward very far on each pull of the rod tip. The other thing it does is it grabs a lot of water. It makes a lot of noise, it makes a big bubble, and it calls them from way off, please come eat me. Number 2, we started on the surface of the water. Now we're going down under. We are dredging the depths with a crankbait. Not just any crankbait, this guy right here. This is a lipless crankbait, and this is a rattle trap. Now, why a lipless crankbait over, let's say, a deep diver or a square bill? The reason is simple. This guy is very, very versatile. I can throw it in a bunch of weeds. I can rip it out of the weeds and let it shimmy back down, and that's when a lot of those strikes are gonna come in. I can have a high rod tip and a high gear ratio and reel it towards the surface. I can go low rod tip, lower gear ratio, and dredge the depths for those big mamacitas sitting down there waiting for an easy meal. Rattle trap, it catches them anywhere from St. Clair to Okeechobee. You need one of these in your arsenal. Number 3, my favorite bait of all time. It catches tons and tons of fish. I personally have caught more fish and more big fish on this lure than anything else in my tackle box. It is this. This is a Zoom Super Fluke. If you're unfamiliar, you can put it on a weighted or unweighted hook. You jerk the rod tip. That's why it's called a jerk bait, and it darts back and forth. Now, it looks like an either injured bait fish or it looks like a fleeing bait fish that's saying, I gotta get away because I don't want to get eaten. Very, very good lure, catches a lot of fish. So if you're trying to get numbers, that's one to go with right there. The Zoom Super Fluke. I've caught them in California, I've caught them in Florida, I've caught them in Georgia, caught them all over the place. You need these. Number 4, go to your local tackle shop. How do you know what a good lure is? Usually that section of the plastics is a little lower in stock than all the rest because people are buying them like crazy. Most of the time, this lure is low on the shelves because so many people use them. It is the Senko style bait. Now, the originator was Gary Yamamoto with the actual Senko. This happens to be an off-brand, but it's these cigar style baits. Now, for one thing, they catch tons and tons of fish, and big ones as well. And you can hook them wacky style, you can Texas rig, Carolina rig, lots of different ways to throw this. Number 2, though, is they are so easy to use. You cast it out there, it has a built-in action that shimmies as it falls. It makes it a very user-friendly bait. In fact, if you're gonna teach a kid how to fish for bass, this is probably your best bet to get them catching them without having to learn so much on how to use the lure. That is the Senko style bait. Number 5, it's number 5 on the list, but it is number 1 in the most versatile lure to catch fish from here to Timbuktu. It is the oldest soft plastic lure, originally created by the Cream Bait Company. It is none other than the soft plastic worm. This one happens to be a trick worm style from Zoom. It really has a lifelike built-in action because it's so flexible. Another one that you can rig in many different ways, Texas, Carolina rig. I can wacky rig it, I can cut pieces off, turn it into a Ned rig. I can put a weight on the head of it, make it stand up. So many different options. It's been around forever for a reason. It works, and it works everywhere. A worm is a very easy meal for a hungry bass. So when they see it, they attack it. They just can't help themselves. And it doesn't matter where you are in the country, this works. That is my list of top 5 lures that catch bass anywhere in the country. Please comment, do you agree with my list? Did I miss anything? Anything that should not be on the list? And make sure if you've not yet subscribed to the channel. What's wrong with you? Also, hit that bell. It'll let you know when new videos are launched, and who doesn't want to get an early seat to these awesome videos. I'm Coach Nick, your fishing coach. Over and out.